did I start feeling this? I don't know. All I wanted to say was I'm so happy. Of course it's not love, but I'm...
Okay, this is for Tier 10, T. Patrick Murray with Creative Genius Agency, creative consulting gig for VW Volkswagen, disruptive marketing ideas. Okay, basically what I'm about to pitch are 35 elements, creative elements, that all are to be considered as a catalyst, initiating catalysts of a disruptive campaign infrastructure that will obviously use online multimedia to for an endgame strategy that's obviously leading customers to get on the lot. How we do that is broken up into a couple major ideas, and from that it comes some sub-ideas that branch off from that. I'm going to speed through a lot of these with a number, so that way if anything catches anyone's attention, I can elaborate on it in a different video or in person on the phone, whatever. But I'm going to try to run through things quickly because there's some things that are quite deep and some things which are superficial and just tagline-ish, but I want to get through them and get through them quick because your time is valuable. Okay. The first idea, idea number one, let's do this in order. Okay, idea number one is the following. I think it's the strongest, so I might as well just go for it. Which is, I know that the theme here is joy, and I think it's a great theme, the joy ride, all that. So I've done a lot of work in that direction. I've also done variations of that, so I respectfully think it's a neat kind of theme thematically, and I think it works well with VW. It's a great theme, joy. So anyway, but what we're looking at is that even though I love joy and the joy idea, this disruptive campaign, by its very nature, a disruptive marketing campaign, has got to be something that's a little bit further, a little bit edgier than maybe VW has done, only in the sense that VW is a master, I think, of passive marketing and not being in your face. A disruptive campaign doesn't have to be in your face, but it does have to get your attention, and VW, again, is very subtle, so these are some ideas to get their attention. So that's the background. I want to stop there, and now go into ideas 1 to 35, so people can cut through it. This was introduction. So these are some ideas to get their attention. So that's the background. I want to stop there, and now go into ideas 1 to 35, so people can cut through it. This was introduction. Idea number 1, United States of a Volkswagen. Alternatively, United Scenes of a Volkswagen. Very simple idea, very straightforward, very powerful. The ultimate joyride, which is defined as a ride with no destination by the dictionary, a ride with no destination in mind, is the essence of wanderlust. And what is a better expression of wanderlust than the cross-country trip by the family? So the United Scenes of a Volkswagen, or the United States of a Volkswagen, is simply one family taking a Volkswagen across the country and back for a couple-week trip, stopping along the way at every major visual site that is recognizable to the human eye, matching up the Volkswagen with that for the purposes of both stock photography, stock footage for other spots, secondary spots, but more importantly, so we can make a 30-second spot or a 60-second even long-form spot where we capture maybe 2 seconds per location, but whether it's the Grand Canyon or Vegas or Chicago or the flats of Kansas or the mountains of Colorado, wherever it is, we can show it in a time-lapse kind of chopped form where we span this entire trek, this entire journey, filled with laughs, filled with all these experiences, and we can pull from that and squeeze the essence to make it into these short spots that I think would be an excellent and natural series campaign. But they also would allow us to, through online marketing, pull out some cinema verite, some true doc footage of what happens to a real family when they take a VW cross country. Now, as an award-winning filmmaker myself, who's a doc filmmaker, I believe I'm the perfect person to do this. Take this with 2 kids that are 8 and 10, with a wife who looks Indian or Hispanic, and it's a good family to represent, and every family, ordinary family, the ages are right. The point is that with my skills as a cinematographer, I can take this footage and within a couple of weeks have, again, at the very least, a lot of stock footage for VW work. Specifically, we can have the actual creative follow-through of seeing a family go through the United States of Volkswagen, seeing a Volkswagen in every possible state and condition to this adventure known as the cross-country road trip. But here's how it becomes interactive, and here how it becomes disruptive. If this really happened, we executed it, then what we do is we get America through marketing and through making them aware of it, of this trip, and just the way people kind of sponsor miles when people run marathons and stuff, people come in and sort of look onto a map and see where the family is along the way, and if they participate by giving their email and they participate in the construct of the game, and like a lot of ideas I'm going to say here, this is just one idea, but they all lead to this type of interaction between the would-be customer or the existing kind of car buyer who we get into the fold of looking at VWs because of the hook of what? Well, I think at the end of the day, it's about giving free leases, however many, let's say 50 free leases out. And how do we get to that? That has got to be the carrot that they come to get on the lot. We'll get someone on the lot to disrupt this campaign. So disruptive campaign number one is United States of America, is a family trip cross-country where we acquire lots of footage, but we also do the interactive thing. So as this family goes across the United States and back, people are participating, and again, if they give their email, then we may drop a set of keys off in their mailbox along the way. In other words, in every state, we drop off a couple sets of keys and a couple mailboxes, and one set of the keys will actually open up the car that gets the free lease for 2 years. Some whatever campaign, it doesn't matter, but when we decide on what the prize is, how they get there, I believe, is about giving them something entertaining that they can interact with. And for them every day to check in to see what this family did in their VW, where did they drive, how far they get, and different scenes of it. It's like every day we get a new 30-second spot for the duration of this trip. So again, this is on the long end of my pitching. I won't make this. Most ideas are boom, boom, boom. But this is I started with this for a reason. I don't care whether it's my family and me or you hire someone else, but to put a family in a VW and to put them cross country for a couple of weeks and to simply be paying for gas, meals, and some ordinary motels along the way, you're going to get a wealth of footage that is going to be both generic in nature and specific to this idea that the ultimate joyride is one that's cross country. And if life is a journey, what a great way to express it through the arc of going through the nation, which itself is like a narrative. So that's it. United Scenes or United States of a Volkswagen. The idea is always also expressed at Volkswagens.tv. I made a website there. Okay, that's idea number one, United Scenes or United States of a Volkswagen. Thank you very much. Idea number two, okay, emphasizing the joyride. The joyride, once again, is a ride to anywhere. We know this from the dictionary. And again, keeping in the theme of wanderlust and driving for the sake of driving, there is something I want to explain as a disruptive marketing campaign that I think is quite unique, and it will take something visual to explain it. Basically, the theme is, obviously Volkswagen, take the joyride or drive the joyride. And then with, again, a double entendre, like all things, it's got to be subtextual in terms of the meaning, straightforward and supporting subtextual meaning, is if life is a joyride or life is a journey, if life is a ride, as we'd identify as life being a joyride, where you go, question mark, you decide. So again, the joyride, where do you go? You decide. And what that is saying is that basically in your life, you control your life by your choices and your action, your decision. But as the metaphor for a joyride is simply that if you were really taking a joyride, where you physically go is up to you. When you get to a stop sign, you take a right or a left, right? Okay. Let's go with that physicality of a literal joyride, and let's bring it into interactive life. Now, what am I talking about? Well, what I'm talking about is the idea that we create what is called a multi-staged, basically decision-oriented binary model, where The first scene of the video is for, let's say, 30 seconds, is getting in a Volkswagen and driving. And as you drive, you get to a fork in the road. And on the fork in the road, there's some sound down to the right, and there's something visual to the left, okay? Neither one's discernible. And you, at the end of this 30-second scene, which has shown a certain VW model in all its glory from a lot of cool angles, all in 30 seconds, just driving into a cool-looking road, getting to this fork. So at that 30-second point, at the end of that, it stops and it asks, and this is an interactive website that says, which way do you want to go, right or left? The joyride, basically, and always at the top saying, the joyride, you decide. In other words, we're identifying that it's an existential choice, or it's a very basic choice of right and left or right and wrong. But here's the point. We make a layered video where if they choose the right, then we go to a sublink, it takes us to page 2, let's say, which is another 30-second to 1-minute video where XYZ happens. If they take it on the left, ABC happens, something diametrically opposed. Okay? So if the first layer is 1, and the second layer has 2 possibilities, then at the end of the 2 possibilities, there's also 2 possibilities, so that's the next layer is 4. There's 2 possibilities at each node there, which makes 8. And how many layers should we go? I think to basically 32 or 64. So we start with 1, we have that fork in the road. We lead to right or left, and the point of each of them is that at the end, let's say we stop at, say, 32. So it's 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. 5 layers, okay. That is a 2.5-minute experience because they're 30 seconds each, and only one of the 32 endings has the ending that is, say, the prize or the upside, or gets you the clue to go forward in this campaign, disruptive campaign. In other words, like a good game, it is a journey where you decide to go on this actual virtual joyride we're taking you through the web. Determines whether or not you get to one of the 32 or 64 or 128. Doesn't matter how many layers you go. It just matters how much time effort you want to put into the creation of these short videos. But the point is, becomes an interactive choose your own adventure on the web, where the VW is featured through everything from different angles and different situations, and we are basically taking the VW and making it a character in a very simplistic film. I mean, we're talking a guy and a girl, and only one of the endings do they get together and drive into the sunset happily. In other words, we want that happy ending, so we keep trying to make different decisions to get there. At the end of the day, again, it can be tied into some type of campaign disruptively, where if you get to the right part, you get a code, you get a promo code, you get something that if you go into a VW, you get X, Y, Z, whatever this giveaway is, because no matter what you do disruptively as a portal, as a catalytic event, you have to have the carrot at the end of the string. So again, I believe that this could be the way to do it, is through what I call the joyride, you decide. Infrastructure is the number 2 idea. The you decide infrastructure, a multi-layer, binary noded video clip, a daisy chain link to where you have anywhere from 8 to 16 to 32 to 64 final realities in a spreading sort of matrix that is symmetrical, that spreads like a tree going, inverted, or looks like a pyramid with the capstone. But at the end of the day, it follows a geometric pattern, 1, 2, and keeps doubling. Anyway, that is it. So we can go into that for a lot of different applications, that whole idea of an interactive video like that. But again, following a literal metaphorical journey and making it part of a story. A lot of companies are already doing short films for their brands for cars, and this makes it a little bit more interesting because it's interactive and you get to make choices. The joyride, you decide. Okay, idea number 3 is, it can be named a number of different things, but let's just go with this heading of, why do you want to try? This is, again, and I hope, again, if I'm wrong about this presumption, then I'm sorry, but let's just presume that there are some free leases available at the dealer level, at the national level, where that is the prize, the carrot at the end of any of these campaigns. So to that end, how do you get people on the lot, or how do you get people interacting with the brand in a way that's fun and interesting, in a way that also can maybe provide us with content? And this is a big direction we're going in. I believe if it was my choice, it was up to me what ideas to focus on, is and this one. why you want to try a VW. And basically, it's alternatively called the Why My Car Sucks campaign, or Why My Car is Lame campaign. And it's people who have a car they're not happy with, which is a lot of people out there, and they have to do a 30-second video and upload it to YouTube and send us the link, and again, sign up at a website, whether it's VW.com or wherever we want to send them. But the rules are simple. In 30 seconds, you tell us why you want to try a VW, why your car sucks, why you don't like it, why you think a VW is better. So again, you'll have people that are either disparaging the competition, or they'll be complimenting or aspiring to VW. Either way, here's the deal. If you go in this direction, you have a situation where by marketing, you're marketing to the very people that you want, people that don't have VWs, that want them. And you are touching the hearts and minds of those people that perhaps have not gone through all of the reasons why VW is a good choice. And to have it articulated by people who are really in the market now, who, if they had $5,000 or $10,000 given to them, or financing given to them, if they had to make a choice, they would go to the VW, they would sign and drive, but they can't because of whatever reason, okay? Those people, those frankly desperate people, would make great natural copy, and their spontaneous, emotional, very naturalistic, extemporaneous blabbering like I do right into the camera. Well, if you isolate that and you collect it and aggregate it, you're going to come up with so many good little clips about, again, why the competition cars don't work. Because they'll be talking about their particular, Toyota that sucks or whatever, but it'll sound larger. So again, they're doing the work for us. They're taking the reality of their dissatisfaction with other brands and why they aspire to be part of the VW experience and what they seek in it. So again, why do you want to try? It comes about with the number of names. Why do you want to try? How lame, the lame campaign, lame car campaign. I mean, you can call it whatever you want. Depends on how edgy you want to make it. The point is, we have the customers from other brands doing the work for us to disparage their brand and to pump up our brand. Okay, now that's idea number 3. We're going to go right into idea number 4 in a second, which is related. That was only 3 minutes, cool. Okay, idea number 4 is called the best drive. Not the test drive, the best drive. Or the best test drive, doesn't matter. Here's the point. Volkswagen, don't take a test drive, take the best drive. And it's basically an overall idea that has some sub-branches to it. This is a different idea, so I'll wait for that. What we want to do is offer someone, basically throw the gauntlet down and say, if you come in during this time period and best drive a VW, any VW model, okay? If you don't think that it is one of the best cars you've ever driven, okay? Now again, this is where we go multiple directions, okay? We'll give you $10. Okay, so one of the names this is also, besides the best driver, is the $10 test drive. I'm going to do a multiple ideas off of ways to reinvent the test drive. Okay, so let me just start off simplistically. The idea is simply to make a value proposition, which is that we think that if you bother to come onto the lot and try VW, you're going to react positively to it. So what does that particularly try? If you throw out $10 there, you're going to be people who are skeptical, that don't think that VW is any good. Probably people that have never experienced VW, okay? And in return, obviously when they sign the release to get this possible $10 that you might pay them, which of course is capped at like 100 people, so it's $1,000 per dealer exposure, in the fine print. But here's the point. What we want, as we did in the last idea, is we want the video. We put in this VW, and they're aware of it, cameras, the little GoPros, like 3 or 4 of them, and we show the experience of someone who thinks they're going to get an easy 10 because they think, that they're not going to like it, they're not going to react to it. And what we're betting on is that if you take the right route on a test drive with the right nice VW, and you drive safely but normally, and you have a couple turns and dips, and you film a normal driver taking a normal test drive, put the radio up, it's a nice day out, put that, all of a sudden it turns into the joyride. You see, we can't make it contrived. The joyride has to be captured cinema verite. So at the end of the day, we want to posture and position any test drive that happens in the next month or so, or for August, let's say, in a situation where we can easily inform them how to wire up easily a couple cameras, whether they're iPhones or GoPros, get the footage of people reacting, because I think, again, what we're going to do is get people that thought they were going to not like it, you know, and this gets into other campaigns ideas I have. But, you know, it's like the joyride, you don't measure in miles, but you measure in smiles, which is another idea. That's number 5, you know. But the whole point is and I think it's kind of cheesy, but I think it actually works in a strange way. I just do. So that's a tough one for me personally, but I do think it works. But the point is that, you know, it's and again, I wrote this out in another idea, but you know, joy is a happiness that you feel, a smile inside you can't conceal. The idea that you can't disguise joy, and to see people who have a predisposition against VW, who are brand neutral, or think that their Chevy or whatever, or Honda or Toyota is the best thing, it's about that person. If we just get one person reversing from that point of view by the virtue of the act of driving it, so we see the transition. We see them start the car and be like, I'm not really into VWs, blah, blah, blah. By the time they're driving back into the lot, without us coaching them, without us paying them for it, just for in reality, they're like, woo, that was a lot, damn, whatever their deal is, they're gonna have a reaction. If we just get one of them, that's good. That's a 30-second spot. And if we get a few of them, that's a whole damn campaign. So the best drive, the test drive, the $10 test drive. Number 5 is, you know, it's the smiles thing. It's a whole smiles thing. It's like Volkswagen, you know, 52 averages 52 smiles per gallon. I like it. It's cheesy. I think it's sort of whatever, but I still think it works, even though I don't really personally like it. But again, if Volkswagen gets, you know, and something funny, like, you know, you could say 41, you know, 41 in the country, you know, 32 in the city. I mean, you can play off of it. You can go full into it if you want to, you know, make it a play on words. But the point is, smiles per gallon. Or you get into the whole idea of that you measure life's journey not by miles but by smiles. So smile is number 5, and I've grouped that. So this has been a 5-minute pitch for ideas 4 and 5, the best price, the best drive, test drive, and also the smiles miles deal. Okay, thank you. Okay, now idea number 6. Okay, this is the I think this is a classic. It's called. A number of names, but how about this? Let's go right now with the Volkswagen Challenge, right? And it's very simple. Well, the other name for it is the 100-mile test drive, something like that. Here's the idea. Basically, it says the following: that who can get the feel for a car in a 10-minute test drive? Nobody. Okay. The only way that you can get a real feel for the car is if you drive it slightly far. The only way that you're going to get a feel is if you take it for a journey for real. So the idea here is that for this month of August or whatever, the Volkswagen Challenge is you, Joe Schmo, that may be on the fence about being a buyer or maybe is actively in the market, regardless. All you do is have to bring in your car on a Friday. Okay, here's the key. And you take this VW for a test drive through the weekend, okay? That's why it's called the 100-mile test drive, the tryout, the getaway. I mean, there's lots of ways to name it, but the whole idea is that it's a swap, it's a tryout, it's a test marriage, it's a hall pass where they get to leave their, and let's be honest about the fine print, you have to bring in a car of equal value, essentially, that they are responsible for leasing, own, or whatever, or set up some type of insurance profile, but let's just make it easier, and it's a swap, and they leave their car there and they take the VW for a weekend. And I think this is a very important idea I don't want to just gloss over. The idea, I mean, no one's done this before, I don't believe, where they've said, listen, I mean, I know some people have said, hey, if you don't like it, you can take it back on the transaction, or maybe Dodge did that. But this is about a test drive that is for real, where you are able to actually experience it in real world conditions for a weekend. So, that is the idea, that you leave your car, you leave your keys, you take ours. There's so many ways to express this visually, there's so many ways to address it artistically in terms of taglines, whether you call it the challenge, whether you call it the swap, whether you call it the tryout, whether you call it, again, I mean, at the end of the day, this is born out of the classic marketing coup, disruptive coup, which is the Pepsi challenge, and the way that forced people to confront Pepsi as a contrast to Coke. This idea, at the end of the day, and I gotta also emphasize that if they take the damn car, we have it wired. So did I mention that? I mean, the whole end game with any of these ideas, whether they're in there just for a normal test drive or best drive, that's just going to be 20 minutes, or whether they take it for a 3-day weekend, we imagine having hundreds of hours of footage of a few hundred families throughout the nation who have taken it for 2-3 days and have had these experiences. They've had fights. They've signed a release at the inception of the 3-day free rental, essentially, where they sign away their appearance and all the footage in it. You know, we're having it. There's no way they can erase it. I mean, all that is no. That's just the details and whatever. That's the mechanics of it. But think of what we get at the end. We get a participatory campaign where it's completely disruptive because people will say, "Hey, you know what? Why don't we try this Volkswagen thing? It doesn't cost any money. All we gotta do is leave our Volvo there, and let's just try it out." And they can, and then every dealer's got to have. It's like first come, first serve. Or you can size up the customer that has the highest value car to get priority. I mean, however you guys want to deal with it on the mechanical level. But you apply to try. So that's another way to say it, apply to try. And then you basically, that type of test drive is a long form test drive that's reinventing the idea of test drive. And I think it's something that people might do. They're already doing it now for houses. They're saying stay the weekend at the house before you buy it. Now, a car transaction is second only to a house in terms of its intimidation factor and how big it is for people. So I think this idea of letting a person try something out, as long as you're backed up from an insurance and or swap at their property point of view, if you're covered that way, let them have it for 2-3 days, can only get them emotionally invested in the product. So that's it. It's called the Volkswagen Challenge, the Volkswagen Swap, the Tryout. We can name it 1,000 things, but that's what it is. The 100-mile test drive, the 1,000-mile test drive, the 3-day test drive, the weekend drive. I mean, that's not important, the name. What's important is the idea, and I think it's a strong one. That's number 6, the challenge, and it's a biggie. Think of the footage. Think of the footage. Okay. Here we go. Idea number 7. Idea number 7 is called Take the Road Less Traveled. Volkswagen. Take the road less traveled. Now, obviously, cliche, the road less traveled. I don't know if it's been used in advertising for automotive products before. Obviously, it should have been. If it has, excuse me. If it hasn't, or if you don't remember it, let's look at it for a second for VW. At the end of the day, a joyride, wanderlust, the idea of being free is about taking a road less traveled, about going a path less people have gone. So what we're looking for in the Road Less Traveled campaign is this idea of people, again, you're going to hear this a lot today, there's another portal or another reason or another causation or another catalyst for them to share with us their secrets, their experience, their story of their road less traveled. In other words, tell us how in life you went on a journey, figuratively or literally, that was the road less traveled. Maybe someone will say, I quit law school and went work for the Peace Corps. Someone could say that I get married to someone I met after 8 minutes. Like I knew that they were my soulmate, and we have 8 kids now, and we're happy. In other words, let's try to not make it necessarily about a journey, but about let's take the metaphor of life being a road and a journey, like we're doing for a joyride, for that imagery, and then let's say, okay, well, what has been, I don't want to really ask people what your joyride has been, because that's too isolated of a memory, but if you ask someone, what is the road less traveled you've taken in life, then they will immediately tell you something in their life that they are proud of, that they've done that most people wouldn't have or didn't. So again, what we will have done at the end of the day is just like, for example, the Apple Think Different campaign. We will have collected an amalgamation of videos or uploads or downloads or extractions from embedded YouTube videos where they have said, and let's hope they're VW drivers, because if they're VW drivers and have done whatever they've done, we can just connect them by this implication. It's like, I drive a VW. I took the road less traveled. And again, like the Robert Frost poem says, let's think about the poem. The poem says, the two roads. There were two roads, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So really, let's just hold that for one moment. I took the road less traveled by, and that has made all the difference. So Robert Frost's words, let's take it and adapt it and show how VW drivers in their lives have taken the road less traveled, figuratively and literally. And then let's show it through some type of exclamation or illustration of maybe a physical road less traveled. Maybe someone's discovered something on a little journey, but I like and prefer the metaphorical one. That's idea number 7, road less traveled. Okay, idea number 8. This is a holistic one where I'm going to give you an image, a line, an idea, and then a proposed spot. Basically, the idea here is with the joyride idea to manifest it in a humorous way. And what we do is, it's a simple issue of a guy about to take a test drive in a VW, and he starts it. They put on their seatbelts, everything's normal, and within 3 seconds we look down at the gear shift and it says P, R, D, and then it says J. And the guy puts it into D, he looks at J, looks up at the VW salesman, doesn't say anything, and they start to drive, and they're driving in the city. Let's say it's a city dealership, okay, and there's traffic and things like that. So as they're stopped, and maybe they're talking for, again, I know it's a 30-second spot, they're saying for a moment, there's an awkward pause because of the traffic, because they're not really driving, and basically the crux of the commercial is at that moment the guy says, so what's the J for? I've never seen that. And the guy's like, well, why don't you try it out? And he puts it into J as a gear, and cut to them driving 35, 40 miles an hour speed limit, whatever, in hills and valley roads of the countryside, beautiful countryside. If it's, let's say, if it's a Beetle or whatever, the top's down, or the sun, or at least the sunroof's open, the wind's in their hair, their ties are flying back, and they don't have a care in the world, and they come, now we're at second 24 in the commercial, and they come to a stop sign along the way, and basically if they come to a stop sign along the way, they stop, and they're like, woo, and the guy goes from J to park, and they're instantly transformed back into the stoplight in the city, let's say of New York, where they've come to a stop, and he's taken a joyride in his mind. Now that leads me to an entire thing I'm going to do next, which is going off on that theme of what a joyride is, and some of the other ways to layer that and other ways to capture that, because again, at the end of the day, all of these ideas are seeking to, I think, offer some type of prize element that enables a person to come test drive, or to offer to us their own homemade footage about why they either want a VW, love a VW, experience joy when they drive a VW. There's various things that we want to maybe perhaps get in terms of marketing material, but at the end of the day, the question is, what is the message we want to send? If it's one of joy, I believe we have to capture that authentically. And what I think is really cool about this idea is that this is contrived, and it's done in a formalistic way, where obviously in a fantasy world where joy is a gear, but that's the point. Is it leads me to some of my things I'm going to come to next, which is, for example, like drive to a different state of mind. This idea that when you take a journey, it's not only a physical journey, it can also be a spiritual journey as well. So I'll get to that later, but that's it. Idea number 8, and it was known as the joy is a gear. Okay, thanks. Okay, number 9 is I'm riffing a little bit on the Joyride thing, and these are just this idea is just riffs, okay? Some things I just wrote down. Joy, let's do it this way, okay? Right. Basically, joy is a gear, the reverse of fear, driving us forward both far and near. It's a state of mind few ever find, try hard as they might, hidden in plain sight. The human race is a marathon. Why run when you... Idea 9, I'm not sure about this, whether or not we got this, so I'm just going to make sure we got this by rereading again. Alright, this is just some random copy regarding joy and the Joyride idea. Joy is a gear, the reverse of fear, driving us forward, far and near. A state of mind few ever find, try hard they might, hidden in plain sight. If the human race is a marathon, then why run when you can drive a Volkswagen? Now, the idea here is to work on joy and create copy within this idea of this context. The Joyride, get inside. Get inside the Joyride. Come inside the Joyride. The other imagery that is very important to keep in mind is the Joyride. Go inside. And the idea is to go inside yourself, as if the Joyride is referring to a spiritual journey as well. So that's another angle and direction I'm going to go talk about. But the idea again is that joy is a gear, the reverse of fear. And I may riff on other times some things that I've written as actual copy, little things, but these are not major campaign ideas. I want to get the major campaign ideas out there first, and then do these tagline stuff. But if, again, we want to create a Joyride or capitalize on Joyride, we have to figure out ways to capture people in a Joyride. And that will lead me to my next idea, number 9, which is pretty cool. Okay, idea number, let's just say 10, because I don't know where we are in this. All right, idea number 10, this is a good one. Okay, this is called Pay to Betray. All right, this is a fun idea, I believe. Basically, what we're doing is we're marketing it to existing. This campaign is going to get people who don't own a VW or drive a VW by using people that do. So we address this marketing campaign to existing VW drivers, and the idea is pay to betray. We say to the person, how'd you like to be in a Volkswagen commercial, or how'd you like to help spread the word about VW, or anything that we're probably already part of a community, so we already have their email address. But the point is simply this, that we ask them to do the following. We say to them, do us a favor, okay? Do you have a spouse or a loved one or a partner or a friend or whoever is in your life who loves VW? Okay, you got that? Okay, great. All right, now would you do us a favor, okay? Would you go up to that person and again, we need a certain person for this, but there's a lot of people out there that would do this, and do the following. Would you turn your phone on, and it doesn't have to be a great shot, we really just want the audio. If you can put it on your lap and get an angle up, we can show them how to do it. But if we just got a few hundred people that did this, this would be wild. And this is what the person does. They say that they want them to confront their loved one that loves VW at playing devil's advocate and saying that maybe we shouldn't get a VW, or maybe we should trade in this VW and get something else. And what we want to capture is what someone who loves a VW does when you play devil's advocate against them and say, I'm going to take your VW away. So the alternative for number 10 is pay to betray, or pay to take your VW away. This idea that people can't be bought off, and people who love VW would stick with it no matter. But the exciting and fun part of this is the arguments that these people would get in, and of course one party knows that it's all for a joke, a practical joke, but the other person's not. And I can see some people getting really angry and very passionate about not wanting to get rid of a VW. And, again, bringing up other competitors, and they would criticize the other competitors. I mean, you reveal a lot of people who know why they like VW and are going to articulate why they love VW, because their lover, their mate, their wife, their husband, their whatever is saying and challenging that love and saying, I think we should get rid of it. And they're saying, no, this is why. And then we put together the best lines from, say, 100 people that do that. And each person that does that, we give them $100 or whatever think about, whatever that comes out to, it's not a lot of money because people will do this for free. I mean, look at YouTube. They would do it for free. But again, it's not about how we get people to do this. We take this and we put them into a commercial campaign where we have stitched together the best arguments from a documentary, shaky cam, cinema verite sort of way. And then again, part of the beauty is at the end, you reveal to the people that it's a joke, and I've been filming you the whole time, and most people are going to laugh, so you have a quick succession of laughs of everyone at the end, the subjects that have gotten taken or had. So the point is simply, the best spokesman for VW is a VW driver who's being filmed passionately defending their brand without knowing it. It's really the best footage you could ever hope for. So all ideas lead to Rome, which is what's Rome? Getting footage that is genuine about why VW is special. Or gets them onto the lot to drive it. But this idea was more about an agglomeration of existing user videos that already love the brand to convince people that have not thought about the brand why they should love the brand. That's idea number 10. Betray, to pay, give it away, no way. Okay, idea number 11 is, ready? Scavenger, Volkswagen hunt. So, scavenger, but when we get to the V, go Volkswagen, and then just like scavenger, Volkswagen. So again, it's intentionally stupid funny. Scavenger, Volkswagen, scav, whatever the heck it is. Scav, Volkswagen, hunt. Now, what's a scavenger hunt? It's a hunt for dumb things along the way that get you to an ultimate prize. I've said it before, we should be giving away leases or some giveaway as part of a disruptive, whatever way we catalyzed it, it's got to be an end game of a free lease, a number of free leases, 50 free leases, whatever it is. It's X, okay? That's the carrot. So what is the Scav Volkswagen hunt? Is the idea that on random Volkswagens on dealers' lots, there will be keys or clues or objects in the trunk. In other words, you have to take a test drive and get on the lot to find any of these things. And again, this is all about glossing over big ideas, and if something is interesting, getting into the fine details. This is an idea that would have to have a lot of details, but the overall is that by having an offline scavenger hunt, you allow for people to try to participate in an experiment, game, interactive marketing campaign where their exploration of Volkswagen dealers and Volkswagens in general. For example, how many kilometers does the speedometer go to in a Golf? Things that make them have to learn about the brand, experience the brand, so they're having empirical material that they're subconsciously processing about the brand. These are the things we want them to do that's going to make them emotionally invest in it and get to that free lease, that free car, that free whatever. So, I just want to say that what this really is at the end of the day is a scavenger hunt that we're adapting using the Volkswagen name, Scav Volkswagen hunt, and we make it not global, we make it national, and we make it so within every, say, state or region or whatever, there is one of these giveaway carrots, and it justifies putting the time, effort, and energy, and we embed it through Facebook and all these other ways. The clues can be online and off, and it can have someone having to go on VW.com and do XYZ, whatever it is. But it's amazing, I think, when you consider what we can do if we have that carrot approved, whatever that is, and I'd love to know what the levels of carrots we can offer. And then conduct through one of these social media campaigns, through one of these games, through the video choice binary node idea, through clues that are in the offline and online world, whatever it may be, gets us all to the same place, them on the dealer's lot trying a car for the test drive, the best drive, the 1,000-mile drive, the 100-mile drive, the trade up, the trade in, the try out, the give in, whatever it is. So that's number 11, and that's number 11. Okay, idea number 12 is Volkswagen experiment. One word, Volkswagen, and when we get to the E in wagon, we go experiment. So one word, Volkswagen experiment, okay? Now what is Volkswagen experiment, okay? Simple. You come in for a test drive, all right? And it's a game where the person can test drive and have a test drive experience, that's fine. But the game is for the person who wants to participate in the game. They're blindfolded, okay? And they do not drive. They are in the passenger seat, obviously, or the back seat, okay? And what we do is the following. What the Volkswagen experiment is very simple, okay? We have a Volkswagen, a great Volkswagen, the best there is, whatever it is, okay? And then we have the second Volkswagen, and then we have, say, a Mercedes or a BMW or some other car, okay? And the simple idea here is that we want people to go into a Volkswagen and guess by the ride that it is a better car. I mean, no offense to Volkswagen, but a more expensive car. So if we do that 100 times, we're going to get 5 to 8 of them. People truly think that the highest end car is the Volkswagen that they're driving in, okay? And that's not using trickery, that's just using probability. So the Volkswagen experiment is a situation, it's, I think, a very clever one, where it gets people onto the lot, and again, there's a prize if you guess it correctly or something. Again, it's like 3-card money. You have 3 quick test drives that would take 5 minutes each car. And remember, each dealership is only going to want to do 50 to 100 of these, okay? After that, the program's over. So again, it's always just about acquiring footage of a certain type and then limiting it so it can be dealt with. But in this situation, I like the idea that they're blindfolded, because part of the joyride is, for me, is things like saying, ready? It's a ride you take inside. The joyride, the ride you take inside. The joyride, go deeper, not farther. The joyride, drive towards, and this is a whole other, this is 12 I guess I'll go to as well, which is the campaign idea is drive to your inner state. Inner state, meditation, spirituality versus interstate, obviously, okay? But even though that's a tagline, I believe it's a whole campaign. So I'm going off of, I don't even know if it was 12 to 13, but it started with the Volkswagen experiment, blindfolded person who is going to mistakenly think that it's a better car, and that's going to be cool to capture that, put that together, and then went into drive to your interstate. And the idea that we emphasize that driving, is not just driving, it's being a passenger, and it's not just being a passenger, that a Volkswagen is pleasurable even when blindfolded because it's a nice ride, you go into your head a little bit, you put in the tunes, and you get almost into a hypnotic state, a state of mind. So again, we're pivoting off of this in tagline area and saying that the joyride is a drive to another state of mind. Not another state as in state line, but a state of mind. Okay, so I just threw a lot of different ideas there at once, but I really do like Volkswagen experiment. It's almost like a blind taste test where we actually blindfold people who aren't driving. That would be good footage. All we have to do is wire some programs or iPhones, and it's a no-brainer. Gets people onto the lot, give them $10 if they guess it right, budget it $1,000 per dealer or something, and this is something that would really get people into the lot, I believe. Anyway, that was idea 12 and 13. Okay, idea number 15. You guys know that joyride really means driving a car that's been stolen. That's the technical term of it. But okay, here it is, okay? The joyride. Used to mean driving a car you stole. Now it means driving... No, that's it, wrong. The joyride used to mean driving a car you steal. Now it means driving a car you feel. Driving a Volkswagen is like hearing a song. Traveling at the speed of right where nothing else feels wrong. I'm playing with that a little bit, but the idea simply is that the joyride isn't driving a car you steal, it's driving a car you feel. That this is a spiritual, transcendent experience. Angels weep, cats and dogs living together, rain falling, the heavens parting. So that's, I think, the cathartic idea that the joyride is something you feel inside. Come inside the joyride. Come on, take a ride. This is idea 16, and it is it's called quick hits of things that may get someone's attention and lead into the fleshing out of a catalytic event for initiation to a relationship between a prize and a market. So, for example, with the Joyride theme, Get Lost is at the top, and then you see the Volkswagen driving, and then on the bottom it says, Find Yourself. The connection being that the way that you find yourself in this world is by getting lost. That the joyride, the ride to nowhere, the ride without a destination in mind, that approach to life, or that mentality, or that inner state, as I said, not interstate, that idea, that state of mind instead of a state of the union, these things have double entendre meanings and should be exploited fully for that, and that's just one of the simplest things ever. Is one of these has to work. For example, that moves us to 17, which is Drive Alive. It's a huge, simplistic, very simple, maybe one that seems too self-evident, but when you talk about joy, one of the emotions I think you're getting to is this idea that driving a VW can make a person feel more alive. There is the back of the neck with the hairs, there is a chill with the release of dopamine in the brain, and that happens when we hear a good song on the radio, when we have that first kiss, when our team wins, the butterflies in the stomach. There's a physiological reaction, and that's also for driving. So I believe we should focus on that. But the getting lost to find yourself is also very interesting, because again, it talks to the idea of the wanderlust, of the idea of the joyride. Get lost to find yourself. Talking about life being a journey, we talked about things like detours and destinations, and the journey is about the journey, not the destination. Well, there's so many plays off of that. It should be a whole number, 18, which is how many ways can you play with life being a journey, and really also making the wiry statement that if life is a journey, it's a journey one drives with a Volkswagen, as if. To me, that is a very tongue-in-cheek way to address a cliched phrase, which is life is being a journey. It is cliche, but it works, and I feel like the joyride imagery connects you to the journey imagery, so you have to work with it. And just a couple other things. Other names for the end game. Like I said, no matter what we're talking about here, we're talking about ways and means to get people to a prize, or to dangling a carrot, a bait there. Obviously the bait is ultimately buying the car, but in order to buy the car, you have to offer a free car, you have to offer a discount car, you have to offer that carrot thing. And to that, we talked about, why try and all that, but for idea 18, I want to say that, the other title could be the free V. It's called VW, and the VW is a great nickname for Volkswagen. But the other way to express it is like, you want to drive a free V, drive a V for free. It's not shifting away from VW, it's just an alternative, it's just another short nickname for Volkswagen, can be V. Because there's a lot of things you can do with it if you were to be able to use just the V terminology. But anyway, why I should drive a Volkswagen for free, why you should give a free Volkswagen to me, all these other variations of that. And at the end of the day, what I want to confirm here is the fact that, whether it's, again, a phrase like new lease on life, that would be a good name for a free lease that you get. It's a new lease on life. Volkswagen giving 50 new leases on lives. The imagery obviously being like it's a second start, it's a second chance, and getting a free car for a couple of years could help out a lot of people. So again, however we contextualize it, I believe that it's about deciding on what is able to be given away, and then working and reverse engineering it almost into a creative, because I like to know what it is that we are giving, so we can, you know, create a game, create all types of experiences with it. And the last thing I want to say with this part is that one of the last ideas is that no matter what, every dealership should perhaps consider making one car that conforms to a vision I had for what's called you know, POV is point of view. So this idea is 19 is POVW. What's POVW? It is the fact that we've taken cars, at least one car from every dealership, and put into it 9 POV perspective cameras. And it's a very simple way of doing it. Imagine 9 squares, which I'll write right now. Here, okay? 9 squares is 3 and 3 and 3. Any way you look at it, it makes a perfect square. It's the perfect number. 9 is the perfect number when you look at thumbnails or mini screens. In the middle is the view from the car going forward, the road ahead, okay? In each corner are side views of the car from kind of between the passenger and the front, both sides. You know, at 6 o'clock we have the rear view looking into the compartment. At 12 o'clock we have it looking at all 4 individuals in the car. And what's the idea here? Well, the idea here is that breaking into 4 screens, we can reduce the perspectives of a car, where it's going, and the people within it, how it looks and feels, within a symmetrical, very, very, very eye-friendly or aesthetically friendly construct, which is the 9 thumbnails, and only the middle one, only the middle one is alive, or ideally, all of them are synchronized. So as you're going forward, you know, they're all synchronized, so if you click on one, you know, it can get to be the whole screen, but you're seeing this car move in a kind of fluid symmetry where, you know, whether it's the front road coming or the road that's right behind you, that's represented both within 12 o'clock, within center, and within 6 o'clock positions of these things. And so again, it sounds like, oh, we're putting cameras in cars. Yeah, but we're putting cameras in precise locations to create a precise effect, which is a virtuality that can be controlled by the selection of which cam you want to make larger. These are HD cams that have wide angle views, and like again, 9 GoPros would be no expense, no big deal, and we could just do it with one dealership and get enough footage for what I'm talking about, which is giving that person an experience of the VW any way we can to make them want to come in and do it for real. And this is another way of doing it. That 19, that's a strong one, POVW.
find a room, a chance to explore the things we both need. A candle burns so, and how did I get in this mess? How did I start feeling this? I don't know. All I wanted to say was I'm so happy. Of course it's not love, but I.
Okay, idea number 8. Idea number 8. This is a holistic one where I'm going to give you an image, a line, an idea, and then a proposed spot. Basically, the idea here is with the Joyride idea to manifest it in a humorous way. And what we do is, it's a simple issue of a guy about to take a test drive in a VW, and he starts it. They put on their seatbelts, everything's normal, and within 3 seconds we look down at the gear shift and it says P, R, D, and then it says J. And the guy puts it into D, he looks at J, looks up at the VW salesman, doesn't say anything, and they start to drive, and they're driving in the city. Let's say it's a city dealership, okay, and there's traffic and things like that. So as they're stopped, and you know, maybe they're talking for, again, I know it's a 30-second spot, they're saying for a moment, there's an awkward pause because of the traffic, because they're not really driving, and basically the crux of the commercial is at that moment the guy says, "So what's the J for? I've never seen that." And the guy's like, "Well, why don't you try it out?" And he puts it into J as a gear, and cut to them driving 35, 40 miles an hour, speed limit, whatever, in hills and valley roads of the countryside, beautiful countryside. If it's, let's say, if it's a Beetle or whatever, the top's down, or the sun, or at least the sunroof's open, the wind's in their hair, their ties are flying back, and they don't have a care in the world, and they come, now we're at second 24 in the commercial, and they come to a stop sign along the way, and basically if they come to a stop sign along the way, they stop and they're like, "Woo!" And the guy goes from J to park, and they're instantly transformed back into the stoplight in the city, let's say of New York, where they've come to a stop, and he's taken a joyride in his mind. Now that leads me to an entire thing I'm going to do next, which is going off on that theme of what a joyride is, and some of the other ways to layer that and other ways to capture that, because again, at the end of the day, all of these ideas are seeking to, I think, offer some type of prize element that enables a person to come test drive, or to offer to us their own homemade footage about why they either want a VW, love a VW, experience joy when they drive a VW. There's various things that we want to maybe perhaps get in terms of marketing material, but at the end of the day, the question is, what is the message we want to send? If it's one of joy, I believe we have to capture that authentically. And what I think is really cool about this idea is that this is contrived, and it's done in a formalistic way. We're obviously in a fantasy world where joy is a gear, but that's the point. Is it leads me to some of my things I'm going to come to next, which is, for example, like drive to a different state of mind. This idea that when you take a journey, it's not only a physical journey, it can also be a spiritual journey as well. So I'll get to that later, but that's it. Idea number 8, and it was known as the joy is a gear. Okay, thanks. Okay, number 9 is I'm riffing a little bit on the joyride thing, and these are just this idea is just riffs. Okay, some things I just wrote down. Joy. Let's do it this way. Okay, right. Basically, joy is a gear, the reverse of fear, driving us forward both far and near. It's a state of mind few ever find, try hard as they might, hidden in plain sight. The human race is a marathon. Why run when you... Okay, number 9 is I'm riffing a little bit on the joyride thing, and these are just this idea is just riffs. Okay, some things I just wrote down. Joy. Let's do it this way. Okay, right. Basically, joy is a gear, the reverse of fear, driving us forward both far and near. It's a state of mind few ever find, try hard as they might, hidden in plain sight. The human race is a marathon. Why run when you... Okay, idea number 15. You guys know that joyride really means driving a car that's been stolen. That's the technical term of it. But okay, here it is, okay? The joyride. Used to mean driving a car you stole. Now it means driving... No, that's it, wrong. The joyride used to mean driving a car you steal. Now it means driving a car you feel. Driving a Volkswagen is like hearing a song. Traveling at the speed of right where nothing else feels wrong. I'm playing with that a little bit, but the idea simply is that the joyride isn't driving a car you steal, it's driving a car you feel. That this is a spiritual, transcendent experience. Angels weep, cats and dogs living together, rain falling, the heavens parting. So that's, I think, the cathartic idea that the joyride is something you feel inside. Come inside the joyride. Come on, take a ride. Okay, this is idea 16, and it is it's called quick hits of things that may get someone's attention and lead into the fleshing out of a catalytic event for initiation to a relationship between a prize and a market. So, for example, with the Joyride theme, Get Lost is at the top, and then you see a Volkswagen driving, and then on the bottom it says, Find Yourself. The connection being that the way that you find yourself in this world is by getting lost. That the joyride, the ride to nowhere, the ride without a destination in mind, that approach to life, or that mentality, or that inner state, as I said, not interstate, that idea of that state of mind instead of a state of the union, these things have double entendre meanings and should be exploited fully for that. And that's just one of the simplest things ever. Is one of these has to work. For example, that moves us to 17, which is Drive Alive. It's a huge, simplistic, very simple, maybe one that seems too self-evident, but when you talk about joy, one of the emotions I think you're getting to is this idea that driving a VW can make a person feel more alive. There is the back of the neck with the hairs, there is a chill with the release of dopamine in the brain, and that happens when we hear a good song on the radio, when we have that first kiss, when our team wins, the butterflies in the stomach. There's a physiological reaction, and that's also for driving. So I believe we should focus on that. But the getting lost to find yourself is also very interesting, because again, it talks to the idea of the wanderlust, of the idea of the joyride, get lost to find yourself. Talking about life being a journey, we talked about things like detours and destinations, and the journey is about the journey, not the destination. Well, there's so many plays off of that. It should be a whole number, 18, which is how many ways can you play with life being a journey, and really also making the wiry statement that if life is a journey, it's a journey one drives with a Volkswagen, as if. To me, that is a very tongue-in-cheek way to address a cliched phrase, which is life is being a journey. It is cliche, but it works, and I feel like the joyride imagery connects you to the journey imagery, so you have to work with it. And just a couple other things. Other names for the end game. Like I said, no matter what we're talking about here, we're talking about ways and means to get people to a prize, or to dangling a carrot, a bait there. Obviously the bait is ultimately buying the car, but in order to buy the car, you have to offer a free car, you have to offer a discount car, you have to offer that carrot thing. And to that, we talked about, why try and all that, but for idea 18, I want to say that, the other title could be the free V. It's called VW, and the VW is a great nickname for Volkswagen. But the other way to express it is like, you want to drive a free V, drive a V for free. It's not shifting away from VW, it's just an alternative, it's just another short nickname for Volkswagen, can be V. Because there's a lot of things you can do with it if you were to be able to use just the V terminology. But anyway, why I should drive a Volkswagen for free, why you should give a free Volkswagen to me, all these other variations of that. And at the end of the day, what I want to confirm here is the fact that, whether it's, again, a phrase like new lease on life, that would be a good name for a free lease that you get. It's a new lease on life. Volkswagen giving 50 new leases on lives. The imagery obviously being like it's a second start, it's a second chance, and getting a free car for a couple of years could help out a lot of people. So again, however we contextualize it, I believe that it's about deciding on what is able to be given away, and then working and reverse engineering it almost into a creative, because I like to know what it is that we are giving, so we can, you know, create a game, create all types of experiences with it. The last thing I want to say with this part is that one of the last ideas is that no matter what, every dealership should perhaps consider making one car that conforms to a vision I had for what's called you know, POV is point of view. So this idea is 19 is POV W. What's POVW? It is the fact that we've taken cars, at least one car from every dealership, and put into it 9 POV perspective cameras. And it's a very simple way of doing it. Imagine 9 squares, which I'll write right now. Here, okay? 9 squares is 3 and 3 and 3. Any way you look at it, it makes a perfect square. It's the perfect number. 9 is the perfect number when you look at thumbnails or mini screens. In the middle is the view from the car going forward, the road ahead, okay? In each corner are side views of the car from kind of between the passenger and the front, both sides. You know, at 6 o'clock we have the rear view looking into the compartment. At 12 o'clock we have it looking at all 4 individuals in the car. And what's the idea here? Well, the idea here is that breaking into 4 screens, we can reduce the perspectives of a car, where it's going, and the people within it, how it looks and feels, within a symmetrical, very, very, very eye-friendly or aesthetically friendly construct, which is the 9 thumbnails, and only the middle one, either only the middle one is alive, or ideally all of them are synchronized. So as you're going forward, you know, they're all synchronized, so if you click on one, you know, it can get to be the whole screen, but you're seeing this car move in a kind of fluid symmetry where, you know, whether it's the front road coming or the road that's right behind you, that's represented both within 12 o'clock, within center, and within 6 o'clock. Positions of these things. And so again, it sounds like, oh, we're putting cameras in cars. Yeah, but we're putting cameras in precise locations to create a precise effect, which is a virtuality that can be controlled by the selection of which cam you want to make larger. These are HD cams that have wide angle views, and like again, 9 GoPros would be no expense, no big deal, and we could just do it with one dealership and get enough footage for what I'm talking about, which is giving that person an experience of the VW any way we can to make them want to come in and do it for real. And this is another way of doing it. That 19, that's a strong one, POVW.